Great, good afternoon, and as always, let me welcome you very warmly to our Wednesday relaunch. Lovely to have you here with us, and delighted that you've been able to come out and share with us here in person. Those of you joining us online, whoever you are, wherever you are, it's always a pleasure to welcome you as well. We'd love that you'd be able to be here in person, but if you can't, this is the next best thing, so welcome to you as well. We always take the opportunity on a Wednesday. I know some of you here for the first time. We love to display to you something of the kindness and goodness of God, who provides in abundance for us in our day-by-day lives, and are glad therefore to provide some good food for you so that you're able to come in and just relax, enjoy, and share in so many good things that the Lord does give to us that we often take for granted in our lives. And then also at around about 1 o'clock this time of day, we just pause and try and learn just a little bit from the Bible, the most practical book that has ever been presented to humanity. Very, very practical in terms of just how we live out our lives and how we discover what we long for and look for in life. And we try and learn just a little bit from that, and do so in a way that's not too demanding on us, so that we're able just to kind of figure out, hey, this has got something to say to me. And at the moment, what we're doing is kind of taking a little tour. We maybe are not able to do it in person, to tour the Mediterranean, and given the heat that there is there, probably it's wise that you don't. But look in with the Apostle Paul, who took a tour around different cities in northern and southern Greece, and just kind of stop off at the places he stopped off and learn some of the lessons from there. But as an easy way into this today, I'm going to ask, have a little picture on the screen. Do you know this man? We'll put the picture on the screen. Hands up, you know who that is. Hands up, you don't know who that is. That's maybe a better place. You don't know who. Oh, well, that's kind of interesting to know. Who is it? Shout it out. Who is it? It is Donald Trump, absolutely right, yeah. And one of the things that is quite interesting to me about America and the people who kind of rise to the surface in America and assume positions of influence and power is that sometimes they are called Donald, and sometimes they have the three letters R-U-M in their name, Donald Trump. Here's another guy. We'll put this guy up on the screen for you and see how he just kind of fades away from being Donald Trump to a different person, and who knows who that is? Yeah, Roger does as well, yes. Shout out his name. Donald Rumsfeld, yes. Even with your mouthful of a good roll, you can still say Donald Rumsfeld. This is kind of 24 years ago. This guy, Donald Rumsfeld, had a fairly significant role to play in America, and he came out with one of the big, lasting quotes that is too long, really, to remember, but I'll read it out for you, put it on the screen for you. It is an interesting quote. This is what he said, and we'll put it on the screen, as I say. He said, "There are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That's to say, we know there are some things we don't know, but there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know." And you kind of listen to that and think, where did you come from, and what on earth is going on in your life? But what he was trying to say is that, there are a whole range of things that go on in the world in which we live, and some of them we know that we know them, some of them we know that we don't know them, and some of them we don't even know that we don't know them. And it'd be an interesting guy to chat to. I'm not sure you'd ever kind of get anything other bit confused by speaking with him. But what it says there in the middle is quite pertinent to where we're going to land today, which is in ancient Athens. Okay? Because in ancient Athens, it is precisely there being some known unknowns that lie at the heart of the narrative that we have in the book of Acts that tell us the story of Paul going to Athens. Known unknowns. Now, you can have a look there at ancient Athens. Some of you have maybe been to Athens, and a lot of it it's the kind of ruins that people like to go there to see. And there's an element of a truth in that, because sometimes we kind of feel that my life is in ruins as well. And it is into a world where often that's the the experience of people, their life in ruins, that the message of the Bible actually is delivered. It has good news for all of us. And Paul went to Athens with good news, and he started off just by kind of having a look around to see what was going on in the city. That's not a photograph, obviously. It's a kind of reconstruction of what it might have looked like back in the ancient days. But it gives you enough of an idea to realize why Paul used one word to describe ancient Athens, and that word was simply religious. He kind of looked around and he thought, yeah, how do I describe this place if he's kind of writing home to his mum and saying, what Athens is like? How am I going to describe it in a single word? And the word he picks out is religious. This place is religious. And you don't have to look far to realize why he said it was religious, and he put in brackets kind of very religious as well. And very religious because at the heart of their life, clearly, look at the statue there, there were just loads and loads of statues of gods and goddesses that they worshipped. And Paul kind of wiped his brow and thought, goodness me, how are you going to remember all of these people? There's a statue to Demeter, there's a statue to Apollo, there's a statue to Hermes, statue to Zeus, and so on. All of them had different names, all of them had different jobs, all of them had different responsibilities. So Poseidon, if you were traveling out the sea, you needed to kind of check in with Poseidon and make sure that things were okay between you and that god Poseidon, because he was the one who looked after the sea. And if you didn't please him, then you might end up with a storm, and you didn't want that, so you kind of did your dues by Poseidon, and you made an offering to Poseidon and said, please, Poseidon, you got to help me. And Zeus was the kind of big top guy in the whole pantheon of Greek gods and goddesses there, and he was the kind of big guy there. You just wanted to keep on the right side of him, so you made sure you kind of made offerings to him, and Hera alongside him on his right. She was the kind of chief lady, first lady of the gods and goddesses there, and the whole way life. If you want to kind of get on in romantic life, then you kind of checked in with Aphrodite, because she was good on the kind of love side of things. If you were a farmer and you were interested in the harvest, you wanted a good harvest, you kind of checked in with Demeter. She kind of took charge of all things harvest, and there was just a plethora of all these different gods, and you had to kind of keep in with them all, so far as the ancient Greeks thought. Otherwise, you could be in big trouble. So you kind of check in with them all, and the thing that Paul noticed was that they also had a statue to the unknown God. This is the kind of known unknowns. They kind of realized it was kind of a bit like spread betting. That, they kind of safety net, in case I've missed one out. You check in with Apollo and Zeus and Hermes and all the others like that. And what happens if I missed one out? Well, they just say, we've got the leftovers, the unknown God. If I've missed anyone out, I'm sorry, I'll kind of pay my dues to you. And Paul kind of latches onto that, and that's his kind of chief focal point, a recognition that here's a people who are very religious. They recognize there's a whole other dimension to life than just that which you see in front of you. You want to keep in with the gods, the people who kind of pull the strings in terms of life. How do you do that? What happens when we miss one out? And so there is this statue to the unknown God. And we're going to read just a couple of verses from the Bible to fill us in on the picture here, because Paul then, he went to the kind of chief meeting place in Athens, which was called the Areopagus, and we read this. Put it on the screen for you. So Paul, standing in the midst of the Areopagus, said, "Men of Athens, I perceive that in every way you are very religious. For as I passed along and observed the objects of your worship, I found also an altar with this inscription, to the unknown God. What therefore you worship as unknown, this I proclaim to you." So Paul basically was saying, hey, I've got good news for you. You are acknowledging up front that you are clueless about, who runs the whole show. Let me tell you, he says, what you worship as unknown, I now proclaim to you. So this that is a known unknown, I want it to be a known known. I want you to come to know this good news, this God that you're just aware that maybe somewhere there's another God that we've missed out. I want to tell you how things really are. And so that's what he's on about, and that's what I want us to give just a moment or two to think about just now. Okay, so next screen we have this coming in where like we'll pause. Okay. Perhaps that's just a reminder to us all that each and every one of us, we need the help of the living God, all of us, in all sorts of different ways. Sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's health-wise, sometimes it's relationship-wise, sometimes emotionally. All of us, we need help. That was what was going on in Athens. They recognized there are a lot of uncertainties in life, a lot of confusing things in life, a lot of ups and downs in life, and they need help. And so they kind of were looking for that help, and we too look for help from the one who alone is able to do that. And we move on to the next slide. You'll see that Paul, he simply had this to say to them. He preached to them simply Jesus and the resurrection. That's how he put it in a nutshell. He preached to them Jesus and the resurrection. He was preaching Jesus and the resurrection. That's to say, the essence of all that he was on about in the scriptures, in explaining what the Bible had to say, was saying basically it's a kind of big book with a lot of verses, a lot of words. What's it all about? It is essentially, it's about a person and it's about an event. That's what the whole Bible is really on about, pointing us to this person and that event and saying that there you have really the key to all that you are looking for, all that you need in life. And what he's pointed to in terms of the person is this person, Jesus, first of all. He speaks, as the whole Bible does, a lot about the person, Jesus. And it's always our concern to commend him to you, to speak about who he is, to speak about all that he's done, and to speak about the fact that he is risen from the dead. He's alive today. He's someone that you and I may ourselves know. Bring up the next slide so you have this picture of Jesus there as the one who, in a sense, arms held up like that. He does uphold us. He does help us in all our different circumstances. And he helped all manner of different people. He would teach. He would help. He would understand them. He would come to them in their needs, and he'd meet them in those needs and do them good. And he is alive to this day, someone that you and I may know and experience in our lives as well. And we need him. And the whole Bible points us to him, points us also to the event, namely the resurrection of Jesus, something that has happened in history. It's not a kind of made-up story. It is about something that genuinely happened in history and that turned really a corner in human history. This Jesus rose from the dead. He has been through the very worst of human experience. He knows it from the inside. He has been crucified. He was crucified, dead, buried, and yet from the tomb raised back to life. Lives to this day. That's the power that he brings, the power to impart life, the power to turn darkness into light, the power to change things around and to move things forward. And that's who he is, that's what he does. And that's what Paul was pointing the Athenians to, this unknown God that you speak about, this known unknown that you have. Let me fill in the details for you, tell you about this God who is the one who actually is the sole God of the world in which we live, the one who runs the whole show, and the one who has come to us to be our friend, to stand with us, to live out life as we experience it here on planet Earth, facing all the trials, facing all the temptations, meeting us in all our different needs, and helping us in all things. And that's Paul's concern, that's the Bible's concern, that you and I should know him, and know him relationally, know him in person. And it's not a complicated thing. It's simply a person to whom we may turn, and we simply come and we say, Jesus, there's a load that I have to learn, but I need you to help me. I need your help. I want your help. Would you come and meet me in your need with all your power? You're able to raise the dead. You're able to turn darkness into light. Do that for me as well. And as I say, each and every one of us, we need him in our lives. And today, perhaps, I hope as we've been to Athens and we've sat here and we've kind of experienced the whole thing, maybe that'll be a reminder. Yes, all of us, we need him in our lives. And so let's just take a moment to bow in his presence and to ask for his help. Lord, you know what our circumstances are. You know each and every one of us, and we're glad of that. And glad that your heart is towards us. You want to help us in all our different circumstances. And so we'd ask, please, that you would indeed draw near to us and be our help, whatever the need may be, and meet us in that need. And grant that we may come increasingly to know you and to be able to rejoice in you. And this we ask for your own name's sake. Amen. Good. Well, enjoy the rest of your lunch. I hope you do. And there's all the goodies over there, the tea, coffee, and enjoy the chance to partake of that.